unlock what is basically the ultimate detective's handbook for reading the hidden intentions of, well, everyone around you. We all like to think we do a pretty good job of masking our true feelings, right? But the truth is, the silent language of your physical body reveals way more about your secret thoughts than your words ever will. So today, we're going to learn exactly how to read those silent signals.
Seriously, what if I told you that a staggering 93% of everything you communicate happens without you ever opening your mouth? Actually, take a second right now. What is your posture saying about you as you watch this? Are you leaning forward? Are your shoulders tense? Every single aspect of your physical state is constantly transmitting data to the people around you, completely unfiltered. And it's backed up by some really famous UCLA research showing that spoken words are just a tiny, tiny slice of the pie. Look at this. 55% of our communication is based entirely on body language, and 38% comes down to your tone of voice. That leaves a measly 7% for the actual words you use. Meaning, if you can decode that massive unspoken 93%, you are gaining a huge competitive edge in human interaction. So, here is our roadmap for navigating this unspoken iceberg. We'll start with the human body scan, then look at micro-tells and lies, check out the words we choose, uncover secrets in handwriting, and finish up with context and insecurity. All right, starting off with section 1, the human body scan, decoding that 55%. These strategic zones tell a pretty comprehensive story. You want to scan everything from whether someone's shoulders are hunched, which usually indicates insecurity, right down to the direction their toes are pointing. But, remember that context is absolutely key here. Someone crossing their arms might not be angry or closed off. They might literally just be sitting in a freezing room trying to stay warm. You really have to look for patterns, not just isolated movements. And to spot those patterns, we always have to hunt for the mismatch. This is kind of the golden rule of analyzing people. It's that exact moment when the words say one thing, but the body screams the exact opposite. Like if someone gives you an enthusiastic yes, but you see their lips purse, a tightly clenched jaw, and this subtle little frown between their brows, well, that physical reality tells you just how reluctant they actually are to agree with you. We also rely way too much on old cliches, like assuming liars can't look you in the eye. Actually, scratch that, skillful liars usually slip up by overcompensating. Think about it. On average, a normal person maintains eye contact for about 7 to 10 seconds. But when a person is staring at you with a gaze that lasts way too long, with barely any blinking and a perfectly frozen, still body posture, that is your cue. They're trying way too hard to look innocent, which ironically completely exposes their lie. Moving on to section 2, micro-tells and lies, uncovering the sneaky 38%. So, micro-expressions are these lightning-fast muscle twitches, mostly around the mouth and the eyes, that completely betray our true anxiety or give away a little white lie before we can even stop them. Someone might think they're doing a fantastic job concealing their fear while trying to impress you, but an ever so slight pullback of the muscles around their mouth, yeah, that's going to completely contradict what they're saying.
Now, getting back to crossed arms for a second, doing something as simple as crossing your R's emotionally and physically closes you off, and it completely kills negotiations. There was this fascinating recording of over 2,000 business negotiations, and researchers found that literally 0 agreements were reached if one or both parties had their arms or legs crossed. 0! It is the ultimate indicator of someone feeling mentally and physically blocked to whatever is being said. You also want to scan your environment for subtle indicators that act as a sort of secret language. Like a limp, reluctant handshake often signals someone who's noncommittal or timid. A tucked chin? That usually reveals a shy introvert avoiding attention. What about excessive nodding? Well, at the risk of looking like a bobblehead, this usually means a nervous employee is just trying to impress the boss and show they can keep up. And tapping toes? That sends a loud, crystal clear message of anxiety or a desperate rush to end the conversation. Let's hit section 3, the words we choose. The tip of the iceberg. Have you ever noticed how guilty people use softer words to cushion a bad deed? When someone has something to hide, their word choice shifts. It's just like in the movies where Captain Jack Sparrow avoids the word steal and instead claims he borrowed a ship without permission. Liars subconsciously soften their language to distance themselves from the guilt of their own actions. In fact, the words people choose are a direct gateway right into their mind. You can often catch a liar if they nervously repeat your question back to you. I mean, they're literally just stalling for time to fabricate a believable story. Keep an ear out for people who constantly drop qualifiers too, like, to the best of my knowledge, or those who suddenly drop the word I from their sentences to avoid being personally implicated in the lie.
All right, Section 4, Secrets in Handwriting, Graphology, and the Pen. So, graphology shows us that everyone has a completely unique way of writing, almost as unique as their own personality. The way we craft our words and letters acts as a direct gateway into our thought processes and behavioral patterns. Amazingly, experts can reveal over 5,000 potential personality traits just from the ink on a page. Just look at how specific these tiny details get. If you dot your I really high up on the page, experts say you have a highly active imagination. But if it slants left, you might be a bit of a procrastinator. Notice how tightly someone spaces their words, too. If they're heavily cramped together, they likely prefer company and might even be a tiny bit intrusive. And pay attention to pen pressure. Heavy, dark ink reveals a person who's feeling tense, stressed, or outright angry. But the ultimate red flag in handwriting? That is a sudden, dramatic shift in the slant of the letters. Handwriting experts warn that when someone is actively lying as they write, their baseline and slant will often change dramatically compared to their normal handwriting. The tension of the deception literally physically alters their fine motor skills. It's wild. And finally, Section 5, Context and Insecurity, the Macro Environment. Look, understanding all of this gives you a massive advantage. A premier study by TalentSmart involving over 1 million people revealed that 90% of top performers possess high emotional intelligence. The key skill that landed them in those upper echelons of success was their ability to read, decipher, and empathize with all those unspoken cues taking place around them. But you must always factor in the environment before making a judgment. A noisy, cramped, or uncomfortable room can easily cause a person to display closed-off, agitated body language that has absolutely nothing to do with you or what you're saying. They might just be feeling claustrophobic. You simply won't get an accurate body language reading if your subject is distracted by a terrible environment. Once the environment is comfortable and set, then you can watch for the high-stakes tells. When negotiating a deal, hidden insecurity looks like someone constantly repeating the same questions, almost as if they just can't accept the answers. Or they might circle back to ideas you've already rejected and repeatedly apologize for being indecisive. That hesitation, that is your cue. Recognizing that insecurity allows you to swoop in, offer the exact right reassurance, and win the deal. So ultimately, being a true human lie detector means avoiding the trap of hyper-focusing on a single twitch or a single word. I mean, you don't want to become so intensely analytical that your own body language gets weird. Just keep an open mind, look at the big picture, and use your empathy to give people the benefit of the doubt. Your intuition is just as important as your observation. Which leaves us with one final, incredibly important question for you to ask yourself as we wrap up this explainer. Now that you know the secret language of that 93%, what is your own body language broadcasting to the world at this exact moment? Are you projecting confidence? Or are you accidentally closing yourself off? Take these tools, step out into the real world, and start reading the unspoken iceberg. Until next time, keep observing.